Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I practiced this in the shower this morning. I was going to call you all witches and warlocks and that sort of stuff because I thought it was kind of, I was going to go, good morning, witches and warlocks.
That's pretty good.
I don't know, mechanics and other things. I don't know. Anyway, hello, everybody.
Warcasters and warlocks.
Yes,
That's
both
better.
of those things.
like
That's
that.
way better.
On
I like
brand.
that. Yeah, that is amazing. I hope you're doing well. My name's Ben from yesterday, in case you didn't see. I am joined by John. Yeah, and then Doug. Yeah, we went over and under. Joining me from Privateer Press. How are you both doing?
Good. Feeling good today. Ready to
awake.
go. Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm on more than 40 minutes of sleep.
Excellent.
I'm on like 8 hours of sleep or something like that, so I might have a little bit more energy than I was expected for.
You earned
yesterday.
it, Ben. You really did earn it. I know you put in the hours yesterday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. If you guys hear any of the wind, by the way, it's because it is roasting in this room without the doors open, and we need those open to be able to
Breathe.
allow us to live.
Yes.
Basically, if we don't have those, we'll probably melt into a small puddle of goo.
Otherwise, you'll watch three grown men turn exactly into just puddles of flop sweat.
Yeah.
It'll be
Bad.
gross.
Bad.
Which nobody wants that, particularly on live stream. Speaking of live stream, we are. Hang on. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
We are streaming live here from Blankenberg for the WTC Team Championships. We have 50 teams battling it out, 5 players on each team for a total of 250 players in this tournament, battling out over 2 days, 3 games today, and then 2 or 3, depending on if we need to have a clear winner over tomorrow. And there is going to be a huge amount of Warmachine going on.
Lots of Warmachine today. A lot of good players out here, and they're going to go. They're going to go hard.
Yeah.
And every single person here is better than me. It's great.
Right.
Because no one would want to watch that game.
Actually, I think every single person here is. I mean, it's the WTC. It's the World Team Championships. They're probably the best in their countries.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons that we have these guys here. You know, it's let's be honest, it's not cheap to fly from say Australia to get over here, so it's a dedication, and you know they want to send the best they can to be able to take home that trophy. But more importantly, as we talked about yesterday, it's all about the friends we make along the way.
Absolutely.
It's the most important part.
Yep.
It is. Well, without any further ado, let us head on over into our games. The players have already started. We can see the clocks ticking down there. We are covering all 5 tables from the matchups that we've got today. And different countries have sent multiple of the same, multiple teams from their one country sometimes. My informant, or an informant in the chat tells me this is France Team 5. There are only 3 French teams. However, some of them contracted COVID. Some of them have had other issues that they've needed to deal with. So I think what they've done is they've disassembled their 3 teams into 2 teams of 5.
Okay.
Sorry, 2 separate teams.
Right.
To make sure that they can still fulfill the 5-man roster, and there's not just one game every round that they're dropping.
Good. Well, hopefully the French members that are not well recover nicely.
Yeah, with any luck.
And swiftly.
Yes.
Yeah. And we are going into the Australian Team Australia, which is the Frilled Neck Lizards. We have 3 teams.
Yes, 3 Australian teams. So this one, frilled neck lizards. The Australians have their animalistic icons on the back of their jerseys, and this might be my favorite one because it's a frilled neck lizard.
I don't know. The blue ringed octopus looks pretty nice, to say the least.
Yeah, that one's
I do like that one. Yeah.
And
Deadly.
incredibly poisonous
Yeah.
because Australia.
Well, I mean,
Because Australia.
I think I'm pretty confident the cats and dogs over there are poisonous.
Everything.
If it has a pulse, it's probably also filled with poison.
When the dogs bark, they shoot spiders.
That sounds so amazing. I like that.
Well, and I'll say just the history of the Australian teams. They're pretty deadly themselves here at some Warmachine.
Well, especially as we saw during the grudge match yesterday.
Right.
I mean, England didn't stand a chance at all, did they?
They did
They
not.
got a bit stomped.
Yes.
It was almost pointless them turning it. No, it wasn't. it wasn't that bad. It was nice to be able to stretch the legs before the weekend. You know, give full sense of security. I'm hoping before bringing the pain over this weekend. But you never know. We were talking to I think it's Jack here on table 2. Sorry, James here on table 2.
Yep.
Yesterday, and he did say that he was concerned the French team could be a dark horse. So you never know; they could take an early L in this round, Australia, if the French team managed to live up to James's expectations.
Yeah, definitely don't want to underestimate the French team. They've been at it for a long time, and they always put together a good team. So as good as Australia has been historically, I know they're going to have a good challenge with France here.
Yeah, when we've got some, sorry, let me nip back to table one for a second. We've got Christopher versus Michael. Any pronunciation I get incorrect here, please just feel free to slap me upside the head and correct me. We've got Irusk. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good. Good
Irusk,
job.
yeah, yeah.
Very good.
And then Zorkova 1 here from
Zorkova,
Michael.
yes.
Yeah, both of them playing from the Kador faction, which is a bit of a civil war here.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things before a match starts, the teams decide how they're going to pair up against each other, and in their pre-game planning, they have ideas of which matchup is going to fare best against another particular matchup that their opponent puts out there. So there is strategy behind putting this Kador versus Kador or any of the other matchups. There's a reason these teams are doing that.
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing we talked about yesterday, particularly myself and you, John, I think we were discussing how a different caster can completely change the way a force functions and the way it attacks and stuff like that.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
And this is a wonderful example of that. You know, both players playing the same faction, but with completely different casters. And we can already see that Michael on the top half of your screen, and then we've got Christopher on the bottom half here. In fact, that's a repetition we'll see throughout all of the tables, because the players, when they picked matchups, the French have all picked this top same side, which is great for us because it's easier.
It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Logistics, woo!
I was just going to say, we can see that Michael has managed to get all of his army, or his force, if you like, moved up into that sort of central part of the board before deciding what he wants to do in later turns.
What's also interesting with this matchup with Zorkova versus Arisk, it's kind of surprising because there are so many casters. Karchev 2 is represented in so many armies, and in this first match here with Kador versus Kador, we don't have Karchev 2 on the battlefield.
On this one, yeah.
On this one, yes.
But as was mentioned during kind of the opening ceremonies, Karchev 2 will be making a pretty significant number of appearances.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I expected Karchev 2 right away over here.
What makes it so potent?
It's a warcaster in the body of a warjack.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the best of both worlds. And it's
it's basically it's got a good kit, right? Would be probably the easiest way to put it. So the ability for it to have some recursion as well as just a lot of battlefield domination, right? It's an intimidating opponent, right? So it's going to control, how much a player is willing to commit anywhere near him, because he's just going to cut bloody swaths through
of course,
much of what you're going to throw at him.
One of the safer of the casters then, we were talking about one of the victory conditions in Warmachine is killing your opponent's caster. Is it one of the positions where you can almost be a little more reckless with him compared to other ones?
Absolutely. I mean, it plays to his strengths, right? And so, yes, but at the same time, you can still overcommit, right? There are answers to the questions that he asks, right? Because he's asking, what do you do when I'm up in your face? Right, literally just murdering your line, and oftentimes the answer to that is magic and other ways of penetrating the armor that he's got, right?
Yeah,
because he still has, hitboxes, and as you take him out, he can still go down. So you've got to be careful how much you overcommit him, how much focus you leave available for him to use to, negate damage and upkeep other spells.
Yeah, of course. So it's one of those warcasters that I guess if you're newer to the game, you can potentially look at his profile and be like, oh, I can be ruthless with him, and then all of a sudden find you go into a matchup where you just get shredded against because they've got the answers for him.
Yeah,
very possible. Yeah. I mean, there's almost always at least one rock paper scissors situation to any given matchup, right? Some of them are a bit clearer than others what those interactions are going to be, and other ones take a bit to suss out or require being in the proper position to take advantage of.
Yeah, it's some of those things. One of the things that we see in lots of war games is that there tends to be like a rock paper scissors situation, as you say, and it's nice to see that it is a foundation for a lot of stuff out there, because you don't want one faction running rampant. You don't want another faction being its only answer and then just those two being in play continuously. It's nice to see such a spread that we have here over at the WTC. It's nice to see all of the things in play.